All right. Episode 67 of the Schultz cast. Haven't done a lockdown Sunbelt. I got to get around to that. I hope I did enough for the month. It's absolutely gorgeous here in central New York, where I'm on Mama Schultz's deck. This is the workout gear. I haven't worked out yet. It was 61 degrees when I woke up, so that's why I have the sweatshirt on. But I work out in this stuff. Let's see what the temperature is right now at 8:18 Eastern time. See, it said 61 in Claude. It's not 61 anymore. It's not 61 right now. There's no way it's 61. It's absolutely gorgeous out. I do have responsibilities. I have one brother who's up here already, but he stays at a hotel. We don't have quite enough room at the Schultz bed and breakfast. And then if we can see his dog, Louie, right there, you can see Louie. That's my responsibility to walk Louie. Not my dog, but he's a great dog. And he's sitting here watching the show. So we had to get up and do that. Had to plug in the computer. Computer was out of juice. So sorry that we are a little bit late. Boy, A&M Names Coach. That's going to be interesting on how that plays out. It seemed a lot of people turned them down, and it is late in the process, as Kendall Rogers showed. They got a head coach as their pitching coach. You leave Washington head coach to become A&M pitching coach. I bet you that's paying about the same. But we had the Habetz presser. A lot of joy. Shelly's going to stay on staff. We will see. Take it for what it's worth. I guess there was a rumor out there, and I haven't seen it. I haven't seen anything new. I'm not sure. I was looking yesterday, but I was on the phone all day yesterday. Montana Fouts, maybe the pitching coach. That's a really, outside of the head coach, it's kind of an inexperienced coaching staff. I haven't seen any transfers yet. If you guys do see that, let me know. Again, someone mentioned that Maya and Lauren, I think, were, do not contact. So maybe they are headed to Texas Tech. We'll see if anyone comes back. I'm sure Allison by now has been in contact with the girls that went into the portal and see if they want to come back. We'll see who the pitching coach is. Montana Fouts would be great. Someone told me, I guess, did Alabama come to Lafayette? I hadn't confirmed that because, that's a huge name, right? She's a huge name in college softball. And he said his girls have Montana Fouts' autograph. And the only way that could be is if Alabama came into town. And I think they did. And another good job by, Raging Cajuns social media crew, right? They got the whole beer thing going with Tulane, and that was great. And, Tulane had fun with it. Cajuns had fun with it. LSU fans complained about it, of course. And then I think the BYU get into it, the best chocolate milk. That's funny. Come on. That's some serious self-awareness. And then that's funny. And then what someone did to LSU was not really funny. But it is what it is. So it seems like, Cajun softball in good shape moving forward. We'll see again who comes back. It'd be nice if you could get the girls to come back. We did find out that Sam Landry went into the portal. Unfortunately, that may not last long. I think the portal closes tomorrow. Again, you can come out of the portal at any time, other than you got to be at school. But I think the last part is, this week to get in. But now, baseball wise, right? The guys at, Texas, at A&M, and now Washington can all have 30 days to transfer if they want to. Washington in the Big Ten, I guess. Are we trying to keep track of that? Texas had a big SEC celebration yesterday, which is kind of cool and odd at the same time. And it is interesting on how Texas is going to dominate the SEC when they didn't dominate the Big 12. What? Am I missing something? Right? Shaka Smart couldn't handle it there. Dave Pierce couldn't get it going. They get it going a little bit in the right direction. Someone mentioned that they were preseason number 1 in 2022. And we'll see. It seems like this is going to, a lot of people picking Texas to do well this year because of Quinn Ewers and Steve Sarkisian are back together, right? When I do my predictions, specifically the Sun Belt, it's, coach and quarterback. And if you're bringing the same guys back, which doesn't happen very often, we've seen it with LSU, boy, when they bring Burrow back, that took off. When they brought Jaden Daniels back, that took off. So it doesn't happen very often these days where, going to the Sun Belt, right? I mean, TJ Finley had an all-world season, gone. Jordan McLeod, Sun Belt Player of the Year, transferring in conference. And so when you bring the guys back, big things are brought for you. And it's a little bit different. So something like, and it's not the same exact thing, right? Where you have Nussmeier, who's been in the program, I think pre-Brian Kelly, right? He was here with Ed Orgeron, so he knows the system, right? The system hasn't changed, and he's got a bunch of experience. Well, I'll rephrase that. A little experience. I guess he played the bowl game, started the bowl game last year, and he played in the SEC championship game when that got away from them against Georgia. But, different than, that's a little bit different dynamic than what we have at South Alabama, where, Major Applewhite is going from offensive coordinator to head coach, and Gio Lopez is going from, does he go from starter to, does he go from, reserve to starter? He wasn't even the backup last year, right? At the beginning of the year. There was one thing. Let me see. My guy, Chris Gordy, Locked On SEC. All right. And so I'm going to keep an eye on this, and it doesn't mean anything per se. When they're at the Manning passing camp, but there was a lot there. And I want to see, Chris Gordy did a great job of, he was in Thibodeau, and then I guess he went to Austin. So he did a good job of that. Chris Gordy on June 29th caught up with University of Houston Cougar quarterback Donovan Smith at the Manning Passing Academy as he talked about his excitement to play for Coach Fritz and get back at it with the Cougs. Okay. So the previous starting quarterback at Houston is at the Manning Passing Academy. The Cajuns' former quarterback, Zion Chris, is at the University of Houston. This will be example numero uno, and maybe Trey Amos is the same way. That the grass is not always greener on the other side. Because if Zion Chris, who reports have it, that he may or may not have been offered 7 figures, got 6 figures, and 6 figures is a lot of money. It's just not 7 figures. And he may not even start. Whereas if this is what I was hoping for. I'll tell you what I was hoping for. I was hoping that he'd be the Cajuns quarterback for the next 2.5 years, right? And that he would be the guy when the stadium opened. It was just perfect timing. Now, who knows who's going to be the quarterback when the stadium opens, right? The program is going to take a little bit of a step back, a little bit of a turnover. We think for 2025, but even, people telling me that you are undervaluing yourself, because if you come in, A, you're healthy, and B, you lead us to a Sun Belt championship, you could end up, could end up at LSU. I don't know who they're. I know they got the big recruit coming in this year for 25, right? Or Blair Underwood? Is it Blair Underwood? That's not right. It's something Underwood. Bryce Underwood. Is he coming in this year? Bryce Underwood is okay. So maybe he wouldn't. Bryce Underwood is the number 1 QB in this class. Oh, no. He's the number 1 quarterback. Now I'm confusing myself. Okay. See, I can get confused in this. He is in, let's see. He's in the 25 class. Okay. So he's not there yet. Okay. So because Zion Chris, and again, I know, well, they did take Kyron Lacey, so that's something. Does Zion Chris go from, the Cajuns to LSU if he had a great year? And, is the whole placeholder for Bryce Underwood? I don't know. But now, I mean, if Zion Chris does not play or start, forget that. I mean, he may end up playing because we've seen what the Cajuns injury case has been over the last couple of years. Who knows if Mitchell's going to stay healthy? Or is it Donovan Smith? I'm getting that confused as well. So Donovan Smith. But it'll be lesson number one. And it'll be a great example of, Desimo and the Cajuns holding up here. And they can bring him back, right? Wouldn't be surprised if he ends up transferring again. We shall see. All right, it is Schultz Cast 38 already watching this morning. Thank you guys for getting up. We will talk future plans. I'm not going to give you the whole story today. I don't want to risk anything that I may say. And when I do tell the story, it is some bewilderment. Not necessarily a bitterness. All right. I don't have that. Boy, Ted Danson did a whole thing with Lebitard, and he's a little out there. I don't mind saying, but he's like, cynicism is a waste of time and emotion. He's right. Right. I just had try to keep my attitude as positive, and we're going to be doing something new. And I think rather exciting. Going to leave some stuff behind, but it is what it is. Let's talk about A&M hiring Michael Early. Boy, they got like their fifth or sixth choice. They can spin it any way they want, right? Some coaches that did not interview, they still called, but they didn't interview. And there is, as Kendall Rogers pointed out from D1 Baseball, the timing of all of this is rough. Like I said, Jay Johnson isn't going anywhere because he's got a dozen transfers coming in, and he's not going to leave them behind, I don't think. I think that would be poor form. I don't think they ever got to Deggs, but like the DBU baseball coach is turning him down. Something along those lines. Virginia didn't want it. FSU, I think FSU said thanks, but no thanks from the get-go. Oklahoma said no thanks, right? So they had a bunch of guys turn them down. And this is a heck of a job to get for your first head coaching job. All right. He's done a really good job. I think he was at Arizona and Arizona State, and the hitters have really flourished under him. So, he is absolutely a fantastic hitting coach. Now he's the head coach, and now there comes a ton of pressure, right? So, it did not, I don't think it went as planned for A&M. It doesn't seem to be, maybe it's the timing of it. It didn't seem to be the plum job that everybody thinks that it is. Although, if you go back, and I seem to remember this, right? So Michigan seems to be the Michigan football. I don't know if they were just waiting for Harbaugh at the time, but they did not. They couldn't find anybody to coach them because the level of expectations and the results are, at the time, ridiculous. Like Michigan was always the highly rated, underperforming team. Like they're in the top 10 for no other reason that they're Michigan, and they would always fall out of the top 25. And then eventually, right? They've gone to the playoffs 3 years in a row. They finally won the championship this past season. And the first year they went to the playoff, they weren't ranked in the top 25. The first year that they were undervalued is, of course, when they make the playoff. And I'm pretty sure, unless they were just holding out for Harbaugh, Michigan had a tough time replacing him. Finding, was that Brady? Let me see here. Is that Brady? Michigan football head coaches. And let's see here. List of head coaches. Exactly what I want. All right. So it was Brady Hoke. And they just had a tough time, replacing Brady Hoke, right? Rich Rod was the guy beforehand. And talk about how history could be changed. He turned down Alabama. Oopsie. And so it's tough. Yeah, I don't think I just remember them having a difficult time. Again, maybe they were waiting for Harbaugh in the football playoffs, and then they got the guy, and then I don't think he was doing as good a job as everybody else thought he did. My guy Bill Benner from the Sporting News explicitly, but he was a big Michigan guy, and always in Harbaugh's corner. And finally, it's tough to say you're not doing a good job in getting to the playoffs, right? It's like A&M. You played in the last game of the season. Disappointing the finish, of course, but I mean, you played in the last game of the season, and when you're playing in the second to last game of the season, as Michigan had for the last 2 seasons before doing the championship, you're doing a good coaching. So we'll see what happens with A&M. It is interesting that they didn't quite get. Again, I think they're at least on their 6th or 7th choice, whether they interviewed guys or not. They had a bunch of people say thanks, but no thanks. Interesting. Kendall Rogers did say they took one last swing at Tony Vitello, and he just said, "I'm good," which I can appreciate. Whether they like Tony Vitello or not, why does he need to go to A&M? First of all, he's a national champion. He's got the run of the place. They've been really good, even if they've come up short the previous couple of seasons. Well, he's got the football coach and the basketball coach watching him win a national championship, and those guys can't sniff that just yet. So it's a good job by him to stay. For the foreseeable future, it's really safe. I don't think Tennessee's falling off anytime soon. Again, when you're one of the last 8 teams standing, you've had a good year. Even if you're losing a super regional at home, was it to Notre Dame a couple years ago? I mean, disappointing finish, but you've had a good season. All right. So Mama Schultz is making me go through some things here. And I found some cool things, mostly some of my stuff. Let me see what I got in my stuff. I don't know what I got in my stuff. I'll still show you this. So I used to do play-by-play minor league baseball, if you didn't know. So some of my first play-by-play was in Wichita, Kansas, and it was the NBC World Series. So National Baseball Congress World Series, where these amateur teams come from all over the country. And the baseball team, the Wichita Wranglers at the time, was AA of the Padres. Bruce Bochy was the manager. They go out of town for 2 weeks. They're out of town for 2 full weeks. And I got tapes of Elkhart. I can only imagine what this is going to sound like. Elkhart versus, I think, Fort Worth. And tape 2, 8/6/92. Let's see what that sounds like. Let's see what else we got. We got a young Jack and Sybil Schultz. I did find, talk about worthless. Charleston Senators stock. That was a minor league baseball team in West Virginia. They lasted 9 years. I don't think we're cashing that in. All right. Let's see what else we got here. I found this. This may actually be worth something. I have no idea how we're going to do this. This is 1 share of AT&T stock bought in 1966. 1. My father made it a joke because they were spending so much money on long-distance phone calls. I think my father was actually in Syracuse and my mother was actually in New York. That's irony because my mother's from Syracuse and my father's from New York. So I don't know if we'll be able to do that again. His name is on it, so who knows if we can do it. And it may be more fun keeping it than to sell it. Got a classic. We all had these as kids, right? This is like a non-used Swiss Army knife. Some more things. These are the cool things. I will say we're not going to go over it because it's embarrassing to him. The judge wasn't all that bright in high school. Let me tell you, it's a good thing I didn't know his grades when he got on my grades. I didn't think my grades were good, but they were exponentially better than him. This is some of the cool stuff. This is a 1948 scorebook from Yankee Stadium, 1948. And he kept score. It's faded because it's pencil. And I think the Yankees won 5-3 against Cleveland. But the Yankees lineup, which is typed in here. It's very odd. It's typed in. So maybe it changes if it's not. This is typed in. Typed in. It looks like Bobby Brown at second base. That's Dr. Bobby Brown. He's former, I think, American League president, right? Tommy Heinrich at in right field. Keller in left. DiMaggio batting cleanup. Berra batting fifth. Johnson at third base. I don't know who Sauchak is at first. McQuinn. Rizzuto, the shortstop. Rashi was pitching. Oh, no. Maybe they had the. Oh, maybe that's what they did. They had. They put all the pitchers in there, and you circled which one was pitching. Lopat pitched. All right. So that's very cool. A 1948 Yankees program. Very cool. 4 uncut $2 bills. Okay. And then we have some headlines here. How about this? Newspapers from way back. Look at that. I guess I did that out of order. Oh, here's President Nixon resigns. I remember that. I happen to remember that. I remember that. I didn't know what was going on. I would have been 5. I would have just turned 5. So I do remember that. Oh, we got a wedding picture. Wedding picture. Pretty cool. Got some more headlines here. Got this one. Not great. All right. Cleveland Press. I don't know what my dad was doing in Cleveland, but he was there. And yes, the brother who owns the dog chirps in. Walked and pooped. And then we have this. Man walks on the moon. So that is 2 weeks after my birthday. July 21st, 1969. I'm born on July 6th. So pretty cool stuff. I think we got some graduation stuff. I mean, this is pretty cool. So my father, I think my father had the flu or mono, and so he didn't graduate in the spring. He graduated in the winter, in December of 45. And so I have actually where he went into the Army, but this is Infantry Division Organization Day, December 46. So I don't know if it's tough to see if he is, which one he's pictured in, but it's pretty cool. He was private first class. I did find a letter where he was writing his dad. That he's trying to get leave. Here is high school diploma. That's pretty cool. I mean, that's in good shape. I don't know where my high school diploma is. Let's see what else we got in here. Oh, here is this is the honorable discharge. This is certified Jack Schultz with a serial number, private first class, HQ BTRY Division Artillery, 2nd Infantry Division. Is hereby honorably discharged for the military service of the United States of America. This certificate is awarded as a testimonial of honest and faithful service to this country. Separation point, Fort Lewis, Washington. Then he literally hitchhiked across the country. He went from Seattle to D.C. And then he took a train from D.C. to New York. Can't do that anymore these days. No, we're not doing that anymore. But he did that. It would have been, when was he discharged? April 47. So he was in the Army for just over a year. They did go back. Cousin, that I unfortunately didn't get to go see. Someone had a bat mitzvah, I believe. And the family went out there, and it was really cool. The politician helped my brother, they got a tour of Fort Washington. And I think a major gave them a tour. That's pretty cool. My mother always jokes, the Army taught my father how to drive. Kid in D.C. in the 40s, They didn't have a car. And so the Army, he learned how to drive a tank before he learned how to drive a car. So pretty cool stuff. We'll see. I don't know how much of this stuff I'm going to take with me. So some pretty cool stuff. Little order in the court. So some pretty cool stuff. Oh, I did find this. Yeah, this is the World Series Game 1 and Game 2, 98. So that would have been a little Tino Martinez action, grand slam, after he maybe have struck out. And this may be me. Yeah, look at that. So some pretty cool pictures that we found out. All right. Anything else? We're going to see if I'm not sure if we're going to get into the YMCA. There's been a communication issue. I'm just trying to get in for lift and come back. Let's see what we got here. Okay. Is keepsakes one word? It looks like keepsakes should be one word. All right. So without getting into the whole story, and I'm absolutely going to tell the whole story. I'm moving on from Lafayette. I did have an opportunity to stay. It was not full time, and I wasn't sure how it was going to work specifically. I don't want to say technology. We knew that. Just the specifics of how this was going to work. I don't know. I did have a job offer that was withdrawn. I don't know why that happened either. And so I am moving on. Those who know me for the last few years know of my keen interest and fascination of bourbon. And so I certainly, this is the first time publicly, I think friends and family up here know about it, but I'm moving on to, I'd say, Claremont, Kentucky, but probably moving to Louisville, at least for the time being. I'm going to go work for the Jim Beam Distillery. That is the oldest and the biggest distillery in America. And so I'm going to be a tour guide to begin with. Hopefully can get promoted rather quickly, as it is not the most lucrative of all positions. But that's what I'm going to be doing. So, and that, again, the story is, this happened fast. I will tell you the one thing that I found fascinating. And so you're always, when you're interviewing, you're always worried about the questions you're going to ask the other people about the job without asking how much it pays. Although they were upfront about that way before I even would have gotten to it. But obviously being unemployed for the better part of 7 months, I've sent out my resume a couple hundred places. And a lot of places I was immensely qualified for. Not necessarily have to get the job, but certainly qualified for it. At least in my mind, at least worth a phone call type of deal. Hey, we got your thing. We'll be in touch type of deal. But I got plenty of automated rejections out of hand. And this one, I don't have any distillery experience. You would have thought that someone looking for a first-time job, someone wants to move up in the company, someone wants to change companies, there just would have been people that were much more qualified and closer than I am. I do have some, I'd say, marketing and sales and high-end customer service, right? I'm not sure this is high-end customer service just yet. But working at the Jim McLean Golf School, you get some big-time clientele. And at the Ocean Reef Club, same thing. And, 95% of the, Ocean Reef Club, you don't know who you're dealing with, right? You don't know what their background is or how much they're worth, and it doesn't matter. You treat everybody the same. And so somehow, I literally applied officially, there's a story behind that, at 10:35. I got an email Friday. I interviewed on Monday, interviewed again on Thursday, and got offered the job Tuesday and accepted it Wednesday. So, and this is all in the last 10 days. Well, almost almost 2. Yeah, last 10 days. So we are moving on. First day of work is July 22nd. I'm trying to find a place to live. That's not easy remotely. Do you live in Bardstown, which is about 15, 20 minutes away on a back road, if you will, compared to 30 minutes away living in Louisville? There's some really nice places to live in Louisville and not so nice places to live there. So we need to make sure I'm living in an okay neighborhood. But we're moving on. So I don't know what that means for the Schultz cast. In my mind, I mean, I got to be to work at 8. It's kind of tough to do a show at 6:55. I can always do it a little earlier when I'm trying to get a workout in and everything along those lines, because I'm going to have to leave. Can you do it in the car? I guess I could do it in the car, right? Well, no, I got to be. That's the thing. I'm East Coast time. And so I got to be to work at 7:55. I guess I could do it earlier, maybe in the car for the time being. The Locked On Sunbelt is going to continue. Certainly for the time being, I should have plenty of time to still do that. Obviously, won't be able to be hands-on as much as I am with South Alabama or the Cajuns. But, it has. We'll go over this. I don't think I'm going to cry. I gave the broadcasting thing a good run. I didn't quite get to where I wanted it to be. And I know there's this idea that you wait everybody out, but I've been around some friends that are still doing the same thing I was doing more than 20 years ago, right? I've been out of minor league baseball longer than I was in it. And these guys are still going. And, I got a friend of mine saying, what else would I do? I don't know if I would be doing minor league baseball this long. I did it for a better part of a decade. I just don't know if I'd be getting on a bus, driving 6-7 hours. Somewhere along the way, I would have had to take the next level, take the next step. And I'm not sure if that would have been the case. My mother asked me that because my buddy in Rochester got the job that I did, and he's better than I am. I mean, if you want to listen to Dylan Cruz play baseball, and he happened to I did actually see him. He was nice enough to say that he remembered me, but I don't think he did. He was signing autographs. But if you want to listen to as good as radio broadcaster doing baseball, tune into Red Wings baseball. I'm telling you. I mean, Josh is outstanding. I posted I think Dylan Cruz tied the game up, or maybe made it a 1-run game. Maybe he made it a 1-run game because I think he scored the winning run. He got a base hit up the middle off of the second baseman's glove out of his reach. So a couple runs came home. And I mean, I think Josh is as good as anybody. Major, certainly minor league, but probably better than more than a handful in the major leagues. And I'm not as good as he is. But my mother asked me, are you disappointed that you didn't get it? Or I was like, I'm doing pretty well. I mean, I live at the time either on Miami Beach or the Keys, made a bunch of friends, had a good time. I think that's part of it. I couldn't quite get in. Maybe I had a shot with the Marlins at one point in time and didn't press it. Not as a broadcaster, but like the broadcasting department. And then the talk, you can only do sports talk for so long before, you're just not getting these choices. And, who wants to hire, I'm going to be 55 on Saturday. Who wants to hire me? And so I think that was an issue. Again, I had an opportunity. We will talk about that. It was withdrawn. I was set to go do mornings in an SEC town and swiped right away from me, which I'm not all that disappointed about. I'm interested in knowing why it was swiped away from me. But right now, all's well that ends well. All right. So I'm switching careers. I have not told them how much I have. That's going to be an issue. I got to move all of that. I probably should and ask them if they can help ship it. Because you can't really ship alcohol. And maybe I'll get access to some nice bottles. I don't know. Certainly got plenty of opportunity to, send gifts to my friends. that are interested in that stuff. So I'll be back on the 6th, and then probably going to go up the next week to Louisville. It's going to take me 2 days to get there. I can't imagine I'm driving 12 hours in one day. And then got to come back. I'll have movers. I am not going to, the chances of me packing anything up, I'll pack up my stereo equipment, and that's about it. And if I could be a little neater with that. Last time I just kind of shoved everything in boxes. I need to be a little bit more organized, but I'll just have the movers come and do everything. All right. It would be better if I had a place to live. That would be one thing. All right. We've been doing this almost an hour. All right. Oh no, just a half an hour. All right. No, I didn't start it. I didn't start at 7:55. Started later. Okay. So we got one brother coming in. He's already here. We showed you Louis. Still sitting there watching. Can we see him in the reflection? Yeah, there you go. See him down there. He's in. The other brother from Louisville, as it turns out, is coming in this afternoon. I'm not really sure why he's driving. And then I'm picking up the daughter that is, I think, working today. She's a registered nurse, and I got to get her at the airport. And then all the cousins are coming in, I think, today. And then, we live all over the country, from Chicago to Northern California to Seattle. One cousin, and I don't understand it, and he shall remain nameless, is flying from Florida to Southern California to pick up the wife and flying to Syracuse. I don't get it. Something I'm not quite. There's got to be a reason why that's happening other than just being gentlemanly. Could both fly to Syracuse and save some time. She could fly to Florida and, fly to Syracuse. I don't know why he's flying that way and then that way. And then my understanding is he's doing it again. He's flying from Syracuse to LA, dropping her off, and then, they're moving to Florida eventually. So we do have a bunch of doctors in the family, which surprises nobody. We do need an oncologist and a orthopedic surgeon, and then we'd just about be set. I think he's the 5th doctor. Well, my uncle is retired from being a doctor. He was really in charge of pediatrics at LSU Medical. But my brother's a doctor. I got a cousin a doctor, another cousin a doctor, another cousin a doctor. That's 4. Am I missing one? 1, 2, 3. No. So Uncle Bob would be 5. And then the nuke, well, I think he's 4. No, 1, 2, maybe 5. Someone's going to be a doctor that just graduated college. So plenty of, and then we have I think a physician's assistant is in the family as well. So plenty of people in the medical profession, but they're all coming in, and my brothers don't like me calling it, but it's Schultz-a-palooza 24. We'll have 20 to 30 relatives, and then friends come down, and the local dinosaur barbecue place comes down and caters our meal on the 3rd. So everyone starts to come in today. It is gorgeous. It had been kind of rainy. Oh, I did win a bunch of money. We went to the casino last night. A bunch of money. I won $145, which is better than losing $100. And it is actually one of the hotter. I lost for a little bit. I was getting really crappy cards, and then I was winning. Or actually, I think I was losing with good cards, which is really disappointing. And then I just started winning, doubling down on stuff you're supposed to double down with, and not getting great cards and winning. And of course, you lose the last hand. I would have won $200. I had a 19 against her 8. Unfortunately, she flipped a 2 and then flipped to 10. So I lost 20 to 19. Got my free drink and got out of there. My mother's like, "You're home already?" I'm like, I won. I wanted to get up with like $50 in my pocket, but I won. Yeah, that's pretty good. So that's a nice deal. That takes care of the 2 bottles of bourbon that I bought up here, 1792 12 year. and a Kings County barrel strength. So that pays for that. Don't think we'll go back to the casino. That's the way to lose it. All right, let me see if I can sneak into the Y, get a workout in before the rest of the Schultz's show up. It was my Aunt Diana's birthday. We brought her to the casino, and she won a couple bucks. So that's nice. And so my college roommate, Nick, which is always good to catch up with. So appreciate you guys tuning in. 63. We will need to get a Locked On Sunbelt episode out today. How about Phil Steele? Here's the preview. Phil Steele picking Marshall to finish second in the East. Whoa, that's a surprise. All right. Everyone have a good week. We'll try to do this as much as I can. I don't know where people are sleeping. And you can close the door because I'm loud. So if I did it inside, that would be too loud. But I don't know if anybody can hear me when I'm outside. So, Louis got a little, puppy dog face on. All right. I will see you guys later. Thanks very much for tuning in. We'll see any news coming out of Cajun land over the next couple of days, although you would think it would be a little quiet only because it's the holiday coming up. So any news is maybe going to come up here in the next day or two compared to maybe we got to wait till Monday after the holiday. Thanks so much, everyone, and we'll talk with you later.